This project is done by Clara, TNC, and Giovanna myself. We are Team Mannshaft, and in this video, we will be analyzing J.S. Bach's Invention 9 in F minor, BWV 780. There were some challenges that surfaced when I was practicing this piece. Firstly, I played the higher notes in every leaping motif too strikingly, as I initially felt that they have to be accentuated by making them louder, but that is not the case. Instead, I have to play the leaping motifs with a stretched feeling. I also played every note too individualistically, which was not desirable. Instead, I had to change by giving them a rounder phrasing to sound like mini parts that fit perfectly into the counterpoint piece. After experiencing these challenges, my lecturer told me to research more on this piece for a better understanding. I found the sincere instructions written by Bach, who wants us to play in a cantabile manner, that is, in a singing style, and playing clearly in two parts. In this autograph manuscript, we can see that there are already slurs handwritten by Bach. This emphasizes the cantabile manner, referring to the legato articulation that we are supposed to execute in our performance. After knowing how Bach wants us to play the piece, I was also curious on how Bach structured the piece. I found that this piece is in the tripartite form, labeled in sections A, B, and a smaller and modified section of the Return of A. Section A, in the key of F minor, modulates to section B, in the key of C minor, which is the dominant key, through an imperfect cadence. There is a change of color that we have to show in our performance. In section B, it depicts softness and sorrow, yet passionately expressed, so we have to play that section with more dramatism. It then modulates back to the home key in the short section of A.
Now that we have looked at a general idea of the piece, let's dive in deeper into the piece. There are three motifs in this piece. In the orange motifs, there are stepwise motion pair of quaver notes. In the yellow motifs, there are leaping motion pair of quaver notes, and in the pink motifs, there are groups of scalic semi-quaver notes. Now let's talk about the relationship among the three motifs. The scalic motifs in pink and leaping quaver motifs in yellow are always interconnected. There is always a diagonal shape idea in every bar. For example, in bar 1, the leaping motif starts in the left hand, which is passed on to the right hand. Meanwhile, the scalic motif starts in the right hand, which is passed on to the left hand. This creates a crossing of rhythmic ideas, thus developing a relationship between the motifs. Additionally, they are also played in contrary motion. It is clear that this piece has a polyphonic texture. From bars 5 to 8, there are inverted counterpoint of bars 1 to 4. The melody in right hand from bars 29 to 32 are repetition of bars 1 to 4. Bars 9 to 11 and bars 12 to 14 are imitations of bars 1 to 3. The non-chord tones we found are anticipations and suspensions. The anticipations depict an emotion crawling and reaching out through the dissonance and into another space. Here is an example of it. The suspensions display the prolonged sense of sadness that seeps into the next bar, which is resolved immediately. Here is an example of it. The augmented seconds, which give a strange sounding to the piece, always occurs at the parallel motion of the two melodies. The dissonance created by the non-chord tones and frequent uses of accidentals, together with the continual passing of motifs, instill a grief feeling in the listeners. After magnifying the score to analyze the details, we shall look at how Giovanna plays the piece in regards to performance issues.
In terms of tempo, she would play it as a legato speed, though Bach did not write the tempo marking. We went to watch these professional performances, 2 video screenshots, and we decided that this piece sounds ideal at a legato tempo. This tempo serves as a main ingredient in marking the piece played clearly in both parts, creating space for dramatism and making the tone color changes more obvious, and lastly, bringing out the taste of agony. Giovanna felt that playing the piece with a slight ad libitum can further highlight the distress, and it will make the melodies feel more expressive. She also felt that when she approaches the leaping motives, she should hold the higher notes longer. This can signify the chromaticism, which makes the piece more grave-sounding. The articulation, a fundamental aspect of music, is smooth because of the slurs written by Bach, resulting in a legato playing of notes. We all collectively agree that the melodic interval minor seconds after the augmented seconds need to play in semi-staccato articulation. The placement of the augmented seconds and minor seconds always approach one bar before the bar that ends the phrases or immediately at the end of the phrases. The semi-staccatos can make the phrasing sound more visible as well. Dynamics are also not indicated in Bach's manuscript, so we felt that there should be some slight dynamics added when we heard Giovanna practicing the piece with the same piano dynamics throughout. We did not come to a conclusion on how we should play the dynamics, as we felt that the dynamics should be a natural instinct of the performer. So every time Giovanna plays the piece, the dynamic would be different, but not drastic, to give a raw and despairing feel for the listeners. This piece, in F minor, portrays a feeling of misery and melancholy. The intensely sad emotions and loneliness is what we have to interpret and express in our performance. Finally, here is the video of Giovanna's performance.